Now let's have a look at task 1 for the general writing exam. You generally receive a scenario and you have to write a letter. The first piece of advice I can give you here is to read every IELTS sample letter you can get your hands on. This will develop proper language for any type of letter. As you know, task 1 for the general training module is a letter, and if the topic asks you to write to someone you know, that's an informal letter, as opposed to writing to someone you don't know, which should be a formal letter. The difference between formal and informal styles is mainly the vocabulary. Informal words are the ones used in everyday conversation, and formal ones are used in books, contracts, and business letters. If the task requires formal writing, avoid using informal language, which is pretty obvious. If the task requires informal writing, such as a letter to a friend, avoid using heavy words. Let's compare informal and formal in the letter, because this is the only part where you have the option to use both. And I'm going to use apologizing as an example. If you're writing to a friend, you should use informal style writing. That means you should use phrases like, I am really sorry. If you're writing to someone you don't know too well, you should use the formal version, which is, please accept my apologies. You need to know the difference and see where to use formal and informal. You can judge which to use from the question, so pay attention to who you need to write to and the points you need to write about. The second and final part of the informal versus formal is when you need to think about the consequences. If you need to express an apology for any inconvenience to the person you're writing to, or to express you are sorry for a difficulty, for example, an informal version would be, I am sorry for this if it puts you out. Whereas a formal version will be, I do apologize for any inconvenience caused. Let's have a look at this formal letter. In the beginning, you can actually see that it says Dear Sir or Madam, and this is provided to you by the IELTS examiner, so you don't need to write it. The next part usually states the purpose of the letter, such as I am writing with regards to. Remember, if you're writing a formal letter, you need to use formal language. Formal word choice is really important. Words such as due to, I intended to, or as a result are used in this part of the exam. You need to remember not to use contractions such as I'm. You need to use I am. In the ending, I look forward to receiving your response is probably the best way to end a formal letter. And the last part should really say yours faithfully or regards. In the informal letter, the beginning will say Dear John. Again, the examiner will provide this for you. Again, you need to state the purpose of your letter. I am just writing to you to let you know. This is really casual and informal. Informal choice of words is actually important for this one as well, such as you know, well, prices are crazy, on the bright side. There's a whole bunch of casual language you can use, and usually it becomes natural for you because you use it every day. Now, some people say that you can use contractions and some people say you shouldn't. Just to be safe, I advise you not to use contractions, so don't use I'm, we've, isn't, or it's. Try and separate them into the actual words that they are. In the ending part, it's good to use a casual kind of phrase to end this sentence. So words like keep in touch or all the best, or even cheers. These are really casual.